if you missed this whole situation, what happened was last weekend, during a match between the New York Red Bulls and the San Jose Earthquakes, Dante Vanzeir used a racist slur on the pitch that players heard. The game was suspended for 20 minutes, starting in the 54th minute, while they went through the protocols to figure out what had been said and what happened. He remained in the game, and they investigated it following, and this is what happened. So MLS now, almost a week on, has said that, and he has admitted, Dante Vanzeir has admitted that he did in fact use a racist slur. 6-game suspension. He is also going to have to participate in league-mandated training and education sessions. For a league that has, basically said that they have a zero-tolerance policy against any sort of racial discrimination, for me, this feels like a slap on the wrist. It doesn't feel like it's enough. And Charlie, I know that you have some thoughts on this as well. Where are you at with this decision and this punishment from MLS?
I'm disappointed. I'm really disappointed in the league because I felt that after the MLS's back tournament, every player kneeling, Black Players for Change, soccer for all, inclusivity, equity, zero tolerance for racism, that the world was watching MLS. And MLS has kind of always stated that this is our game. We're going to change the way that soccer is viewed. We're going to dictate the rules. People are going to follow us. VAR, perfect example. We're going to implement VAR before anyone else and show that it works. We are at the forefront. And the window's open to finally make some real significant change and impact when it comes to dealing with racism in our sport. And so the world's watching. This is the first time that I've ever heard in my life a player admitting to using a racial slur. Ever. Typically, you hear,
Denial.
hey, you did it, you take that to the grave. I'm never admitting to that. Who can prove it, right? Your word versus mine. Even if you had teammates that, I heard it, nope, we'll come up with something. They just want to get you suspended. First time I ever have heard of a player saying, yes, I did say that. And at first, denied it in the moment. But after an investigation said, yes, I did say it. And other teammates of his said, yes, he did say that. So now MLS, they were quiet.
They're still quiet.
But immediately after, no reaction, no emotional reaction, we're going to take our time to come up with a real statement. One that reverberates around the world, that you could say, look, this is how you deal with racism. They said zero tolerance. That's a league-wide statement, and zero tolerance means zero tolerance out of the league. Guess what? That will send a message to the world, to players, to fans, to sporting directors, to owners. Zero tolerance means zero tolerance. Now, I'm not naive. I literally thought a 34-game suspension, a season.
That's what I was going to ask you. If they would have suspended him, everybody was saying, right, the immediate reaction from fans, from players, get him out of the league. There's a precedent, I think, in the way that you can consider Alexander Katai with the Galaxy. His wife had tweeted or put something on her Instagram, something racist, and Galaxy found a way to get him out of the Galaxy to Red Star in Serbia, where he's from.
I don't know. How does he come back into a locker room?
Would a season-long suspension for the DP, for the star player of New York Red Bull, would that have been enough to make that powerful statement?
Yes, it would. It's never been done, right? It's precedent. Here we go. Here we have a blank canvas to say this is what a punishment should be, and we talk about forgiveness, right? Redemption. This allows the player for 34 games, one, think about a paycheck, but two, recover from this incident. How do I learn? How do I better myself, educate myself, so that this never happens again? People this will sink in. This is something that is so powerful and makes you understand the gravity of words like this. And if you look at previous suspensions in Major League Soccer, I think of Mark Birch and Colin Clark. Rest in peace to Colin Clark, a former teammate of mine with the U.S. But in 2012, homophobic slurs. This is 10 years ago. 3 games each. Brian Mullen, 10 games for breaking Zach Awani's leg. Ricardo Clark, 9 games for a kick on Carlos Ruiz. I wanted to see 34 games. Let's set a precedent now.
Right, this is worse than any in-tackle game.
6
It
games?
doesn't matter. And I think the repercussions of something like this, and this is where it's foul. I mean, we could sit here and argue whether a player admitting to saying it feels some form of contrition, feels bad. That's part of it. That doesn't clear you from discipline. That's part of it. And I'm glad that this player at least admitted to it, so we have this now on record. But that's part of it. The real shame of this is, what does this say to something that has been an absolute problem in this country, is getting kids that look like me and look like Charlie, and or maybe are Asian or something, that just non-white kids that want to play this sport. Now this says we don't got you back. When something happens out on the pitch, you're on your own. 6 games is nothing. What does that say to your teammates? What does that say to that young black child, in Newark, across the water from Rebel Arena, that is thinking to themselves, I want to be an athlete. Maybe I should pick soccer. Happen to watch that game. Now what?
Yeah.
Now what do you say to him? We don't got you back. We've got the back of the DP. We're going to give him a little bit of a vacation, but he's going to be right back. When he said something and admitted to saying something absolutely terrible, repercussions of this will be felt for years. And this, again, slides this sport back in this country, because no one wants to take that stand that they should have. A season ain't that much. A season is not that hard to ask for when someone tells you they said something like this.
Charlie, how does this affect the locker room? The Red Bulls now, it's a 6-game suspension, so Dante Vanzeir won't be there for 6 games, but he's going to come back. What's the reception like in a locker room after something like this?
If it were me, it's hard to, you come to work, and this is the cliche, you don't have to be friends with everyone that you work with.
Sure.
Right? You have to be professional. But you, as a brotherhood, have to build that trust in the locker room, and that trust is broken. You're treating someone less than. You think I'm less than as a black man in your locker room. How can I look at you the same way? Because I know how you think about me and feel about me. If you use those words in a game, and I just think it minimizes the movement, because there was this window, this opportunity that the league had. And you have this I think that the momentum was going the right way, and I wanted to believe it. I think all the players wanted to believe it. And you have time to come up with the right punishment, consequences. You gotta have consequences for something like this. And now, you plateaued. You said 6 games and a small fine.
A precedent has been set now. Yeah.
And a fine.
What was the fine?
$10,000 is the fine.
Wow, really hit him where it hurts, huh, MLS?
And it for me, it's so disheartening.
Yeah.
It is. I slept overnight, and I slept on it. I thought about, why would you go this direction?
Yeah.
After all of this hard work to build up the league and build up the people who are usually marginalized and discriminated against across every aspect of life.
I keep thinking too, if this happened anywhere else, if this happened at CBS, if this happened at the Golazo Network, if this happened at any other company, that person would be fired. That person would not have a job.
How do you feel about this?
For me, it's strange that MLS has been quiet. I've been waiting for an official statement from the league in the moment, and it's all gone through official statements from Red Bull on MLS's behalf almost. They're saying what the punishment was. I feel like when this happens in the Prem, there's an investigation launched. There
was an investigation
launched. And then I feel like as
the results
public,
of the investigation
we need to have the clarity on what happened.
Man, important conversations that I wish we did not have to have. We're going to take a break. More morning footy after this.